Well, this is my fourth video on Russ Mckamey in the Mckamey Manor. But this isn't not going to be your particular video about him. Now, this topic is what really got me into more morbid curiosity stuff in the later future for my videos, and this topic is no exception. What's up, everybody? I'm Amaryx, and today I'm here to discuss the story and origin of the Mckamey Manor and how it all began. So, Russ Mckamey began his journey 20 years ago, pretty much running haunted houses of the city of San Diego, California. Now, Russ had a passion for making haunted houses, scaring people, and pretty much just freaking everybody out, but in the beginning, it wasn't all about torturing people or going down crazy psychopath routes or anything like that. It was actually just a regular scary haunted house, and it's actually very interesting because it's like an amazing evolution of something much deeper in the long run. In 2007, there was a TV show that showcased Russ's haunted house called Fear.net, and what it did was it actually showcased Russ Mckamey in 2007, a younger version of him, pretty much showing his haunted house, and to my surprise, it actually looked pretty good and scary. Not very many people were touched or anything like that. It was just people just getting freaked out, and it was very creative and cool. But it's such a sad way to see how someone like this had a lot of potential to become something better, but instead, he let his own sick fantasies get in the way. He also seemed pretty happy back then too as well, like he actually had some workers with some creative ideas and different ways to scare their victims without really harming them, and it was actually kind of refreshing at the time. And the shocking part is, no one was harmed. Well, at least not yet. In a further interview, Russ did say that someone did have a heart attack during the haunted house when it was just a regular haunted house. But to his comment, he actually thought it was good stuff and that it was awesome, which is actually kind of psychotic and scary because it's like, bro, this dude literally had a heart attack. You should kind of be concerned a little bit. So for a couple years, Russ was actually doing his haunted houses, just having fun for a couple years. And about 4 years later, in 2011, is when we start seeing signs a little bit of the Mckamey Manor getting a little bit more extreme and very more personal. Now, as you can see in some of these clips, you can start seeing people getting thrown at by buckets of water by some of the workers and actors. And then all of a sudden you start seeing people getting grabbed by their shoulders and arms and a bunch of more personal stuff like that. And what's really kind of eye-opening and mind-boggling a little bit is that they actually got away at the time before they started completely torturing. This was like a rough draft. Pretty much tying somebody up, blindfolding them, and then putting them up in a chair. And back then too, people in the comments were saying like they thought the haunted house looked cool, but like they thought some of that was a little extreme and a little that could be filed a lawsuit, because at this time there was no waiver or lawsuit stuff yet. There was no legal waivers or anything. So it's kind of mind-boggling that Russ Mckamey ended up recording footage of him doing this to people before it became like some legal waiver. I just thought we were all done here and there. In 2012, they actually made even more changes to people because it was getting so extreme to the point where that they had kids last year during this time, and obviously Russ wanted to fix that. So Russ starts bringing waivers into his contract, making it 18 plus only, so I guess so no minors would get hurt or anything like that. It was kind of intense that they even let little kids and freaking young teenagers in before that. But in this haunted house, it showcased people's hair being pulled, people getting tied up again and like getting their face taped up, not tied up, taped up. And they also had another thing where they started hitting their guests in the head with objects by the actors. Now that was a little extreme for just back then. And little did they know that it would get worse. But yeah, it was getting crazier and crazier after 2010 for no reason. I guess Russ wanted to pretty much revamp everything to make it more extreme, and I guess to switch things up for probably for the worst. So 2013 comes around, and all the psychological shit that's been added up from previous years or the last recent years of the Mckamey Manor finally comes to play. Now, this was the first year where pretty much people were signing up waivers just to pretty much get legally tortured as a legal loophole. And instead of, paying for their way in anymore, they started donating nonprofit. They made it nonprofit to pretty much go in there and donate cans of dog food so they get tortured. Now, they no longer do dog food as a purchase or item, but that's what they did back then. And yeah, it was crazy what people were doing, and they didn't care either. For some reason, a lot of people were crazy too, and they wanted this shit. They went all out. They decided to put their guests in traps. They would also try to drown them and even put real snakes and spiders on them to really scare them while they're getting tortured. Now, to any normal human being is, why would anyone want to legally get themselves tortured? And why would someone want to non-profitly, torture people with that? Because short answer is, they're freaking crazy. Yeah, and they're showing good signs of them being psychotic and just pretty much a sociopath at pretty much everything that's in their way. Now, they got away with this of a few more years, and then in 2015, there was a documentary that's about Russ Mckamey and his crazy torture method journey in his Mckamey Manor, videos and journey and whatnot. And actually, they actually showed that in the contract that they're actually not responsible for going as far as even breaking bones and hurting people and major injuries. So they're pretty much saying that, yes, we hurt these people, they want it, but yes, we are going to hurt these people, and legally we can get away with it. And even though it may be legal, I think it's morally messed up. And these people, yes, are also not they're not sane either. They're probably mentally unstable just as Russ, so they pretty much do their own business and get away with this crap. And it's just not right. Just because someone wants to get themselves hurt doesn't mean it's a good idea to show people on video getting tortured just to satisfy sick people on the internet, to satisfy their fantasies and sick tortures. Now, what's really mind-boggling as well is Russ Mckamey at the time had kids. He had 3 kids, dogs, and a wife at the time. And somehow they were okay with this. Deep down, I don't think they were okay. The kids in the documentary were obviously very young. They were probably in elementary school, probably as young as 3rd or 4th grade or even 2nd grade. And yeah, obviously they don't know the morals of how morally messed up it all is, so they just kind of got along with it. But yeah, I don't know how the wife really thought of it. Maybe the wife was scared of him and pretty much stayed with him. But yeah, it was it's just very interesting to see someone like this piece of work somehow get married. It's if this dude could get married and have kids and had a family for a while, then shit, I could get married and have kids. So can you. It's just very, very mind-boggling. It's what the hell, dude? Why? Now, somehow, for all these years, things were going very smoothly for Russ for all this time, and in 2016, Russ finally runs into a major issue with the law, and it wasn't what you think it is. It's actually the IRS, because in 2012, he owed over $200,000 pretty much upgrade the haunted house, and I guess he never paid his taxes back. So Russ Mckamey tried stating the situation that this is a legal thing I'm doing, even though it wasn't meant for any of that crime part. They just wanted his freaking $200,000 in tax money. Now, I'm not sure if he paid it off or not. He might have, I don't know, because he didn't get arrested or anything. But it is very interesting to see that he paid so much money to upgrade his stuff but didn't pay his taxes back. And I guess the IRS just wasn't too happy at him. I wouldn't be either. And as a result of the IRS pretty much coming after him, that he pretty much decides to move out of San Diego and relocate his manor to 2 different locations. For temporarily, he moved it to Alabama, and then he did it to Tennessee. I think there were 2 locations at once, but the one in Alabama didn't last very long. So he moved to, I think, Huntsville area, Tennessee, and Summertown, Tennessee is the city. And yeah, and to this day, I think it's still there. And to our surprise, oh no, people find out he moved it to Tennessee, and the people of Tennessee are terrified, and they're saying, oh, it's not safe, especially to the children and everything, even though it's 18 plus. Yeah, they're not wrong. It's there's some, like I said, they were trying to cancel him at this time a little bit on the internet, but still, it wasn't very well known yet by the media completely. I don't know how it went so long without knowing it, but eventually it will get noticed. But to this time, still, it wasn't completely noticed as a whole. So in 2019, 2 years later, Russ Mckamey's Manor finally gets the recognition he wanted to, but not for the right reasons. But he announced in 2019 for Halloween that there was a challenge where someone would go through his Mckamey Manor for 8 hours without giving up or saying the safe word, because at this time he finally had a safe word, that they would win $20,000. Now, for 8 hours of getting tortured for $20,000, in my opinion, that's not worth it. I'd rather have Mr. Beast give me a challenge in North Charlotte, Carolina, and pretty much, or South Carolina, and pretty much give me more money that way without pretty much getting. And this got major backlash because everyone found out it was just a torture mansion, not a haunted house, even though he was still disguising as that. Lots of backlash and everything. A lot of people were finally coming out There was one lady that kind of came out in 2015, but she pretty much said like, just don't go here, blah, 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 blah. Pretty much what Russ wanted to kind of scare them. But many people were coming out in 2019, coming out with the recordings that they weren't allowed to upload yet or anything. And it was pretty refreshing to see. And there was a video that was deleted that a dude he went to the manor and exposed it by pretty much showing it as a joke, as in terms of like, it looked nothing like the trailers. It was pretty much false advertising kind of, and pretty much just Russ Mckamey, just because he's the only worker he had, because when he moved he lost all of his workers, that it was just pretty much him antagonizing his freaking victims. But the dude in the video wasn't that scared or nothing. Yeah, he was kind of speaking up, talking back to him, but shit, what do you expect? Like, the dude's degrading you, even though it's part of the experience. And yeah, I think he did to pretty much expose it. And yeah, it was a joke. And like, people have told me in the past when I made videos like this, like, oh, why don't you go in? It's like, dude, I'm here to talk about the Mckamey Manor, dude. I don't give a fuck about going in there and shit like that. Like, come on, dude. Like, I mean, shit, I'm not going to be one of those dudes to fall for it, because I'm not that stupid and ignorant to think I'm going to win $20,000. Because at the end of the day, I'm here to talk about stuff. I don't have to experience the manor to talk about it and do research and tell you guys the story and origin. And to our surprise, there was a guy who was actually a good trooper that was in the military as a veteran. He did the challenge and he was about 7 hours in. And Russ decides to pull the plug on video, saying that we care about his safety. Yes, because torturing someone for hours on end is totally caring about their safety. It's like, I'm not buying that, dude. I don't think Russ Mckamey had $20,000. And then this blew up even more because people were calling him a scammer, and he just using it as an excuse to pretty much torture him. And I believe it, dude. It's kind of shady that they were going to do $20,000, not show the actual cash or a picture or chest or nothing, then decides to pull the plug an hour in, dude. Like, I bet Russ Mckamey was probably scared a little bit that the dude was actually going to win, and he didn't want them to win, and to satisfy his ego, he records a video of him saying that, he's tired, he's done, we care about his safety, and not give him shit. Like, at least give him something, dude. Give him at least freaking $5,000. But Russ probably didn't have that. So Russ Mckamey pretty much had victims that come out too, like I said earlier, but they actually would go as far as accusing him and admitting that he was sexually harassed by the female participants there. And would I guess, had an affair with his wife, apparently, which is kind of messed up, but hey, this dude's freaking psycho, I could probably believe it. And what's really, really interesting is that his wife and his kids are no longer together, which is understandable. They probably woke up to his nonsense. And then pretty much just, he's pretty much just alone now. And I'm not sure, I guess they moved away from him, possibly out of state. Not fully sure on that, but I do know he's not with them anymore. So all this pretty much goes down. Then a next couple months later, COVID-19 hits. Pandemic shuts a lot of stuff down in 2020, obviously. And Russ Mckamey did stay in an interview on my last video I made, pretty much stating that he was still going to do it, but hardly anyone came to the Mckamey Manor version because it got exploited and exposed. So pretty much he wasn't, obviously, as a psycho killer, ain't scared of no coronavirus. So he decides to pretty much rename it in 2020, called the Morgue. And to this day, it's pretty much a rebrand of the same thing, but it's just not as well known because Mckamey Manor blew up. So it's more for the diehard fan base that he has, which is kind of scary to watch and stuff. So he somehow would live stream his stuff, obviously still, and upload it to the deep dark web to show the people. And there was actually leaks and everything of this happening on YouTube because they're in really bad quality, so you can't really see it. But it's enough to sell a bunch of crazy stuff to satisfy the unstable people on the dark web. And yeah, that's how he probably makes his money, because obviously, why would anyone do this without any type of motivation for making money at this point, even when he made money in the past? It's just kind of really odd, and most people want to make money off their passions, and this dude had way too much time and too much investments in this to not make any money out of it. Now, as far as I hear, in 2021, we haven't heard hardly anything about Russ Mckamey, the Mckamey Manor, or anything like that. It's probably still the Morgue that he's doing, that he's probably sharing on the internet. We don't know any new information. The last time we pretty much heard from him was in 2020 of October about the, how he's going to still do it in a post interview and stuff like that. But yeah, if there's any new information I could find about the Mckamey Manor that does come out either by next year or somehow at the end of this year, I'll gladly make an update video about it and make it more, informative. And that, my friends, will conclude the story and origin of the Mckamey Manor and how it all began and started. I've been wanting to do more of a quality over quantity approach in terms of longer videos but less upload time, and also I've been investing in other hobbies too. But thank you guys for being patient. We're almost at 5,000 subscribers. We're trying to get to 5,000 at the end of the year, so make sure to hit that subscribe button. And also, yes, I've been learning a new instrument too, and I'm going to show you guys real quick. I've been learning the guitar. I'm going to play something for you guys, just for you. SpongeBob! Also, reminder guys, if you guys got any good recommendation videos for me that I could maybe make a video on if it's really good. Sometimes, every once in a while, someone will come across with a very good video recommendation. So I'll be gladly happy to make one if you got any in the comment section so below. So sometimes, feel free to give it a shot and maybe I'll make one in the future. Who knows? Alrighty guys, I'm Amaryx and I'll catch you guys in the next video, so peace out.